What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharp, and welcome to the first official edition. Now, I don't know exactly what we're going to call this podcast. Onyx and I have been kicking around some ideas, but I want help from you guys in the chat. So first, let me welcome my very special guest. She is the one and only, the lovely and talented Onyx Muse. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Be a part of this.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about a couple of things before we get into the nitty gritty. We are going to talk about the confrontation that happened between you and Marquette, but I want to tell the audience about the first time you and I met. So a couple months ago, I was down in Vegas working on a project, and one of the people that I was working on the project with happened to know who you were. She brought you by, and you looked at me, you're like, I know who you are. And I was like, uh-oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
And I had a red flag. I was
did.
like, wait a minute.
I know who this dude is.
Yes.
So tell the audience what your first impression of me was. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever the case may be.
So I'm very, I go deep in the YouTube world, especially podcast world, and there's a lot of like fresh and fit type of reaction videos or people, revealing and you came on, and I didn't fully know what your name was, but they always had these clips where you were bashing women who came on the show. Mm-hmm. And, for me, because I'm always about like supporting women, I'm like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, that guy's a fucking asshole. I mean, and keep in mind, I'm only watching bits. I never actually really caught the live interaction of the show. So you were first talked about like, just this great guy, mm-hmm. Got to meet him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a very like a visual face person. So when I saw the picture first, and I was like,
wait a minute. Uh-oh.
Please don't tell me it's that guy. And then we were going to have the meeting, and I like immediately had the guard like on right away.
Absolutely.
And I was like, this guy, he better not even think about trying to get in a debate with me. But then actually when I met you and we talked, and you weren't that visual that they were portraying. Sure. And, and it's always different when people are on podcasts. They have to, you're a brand, you're a character, and you have to put, your thing on, and you are debating, you are giving real stuff.
Sure.
So when I met you, then I was like, oh, okay.
I'm not the devil.
Guy isn't the bad guy. And also too, if he's a realist and we can have a conversation and he's not judgmental and he's not, like, predatorial,
sure.
To exploit and stuff, then I did see the good. So
good.
Then, and we are really good friends now.
We are.
We talk a lot, and we have a lot of good perspectives, even though sometimes we can get on topics that we don't fully agree with.
Sure.
We can still have healthy conversation, and I always respect somebody who can have a healthy debate even if you don't agree.
Absolutely. And I think that's really why I decided to start this podcast, because, and we'll get into this here shortly, but there's a lot of knowledge that's out there, and like we have a lot of followers and a lot of fans, and you can only listen to us so much. You can only watch so many videos. 5 signs she's a slut, 10 signs you should never commit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've been at this now for 10 years. I've been podcasting for 7, and it's time. And a lot of people don't like the fact that we bring women into the conversation, but that's just kind of how it is. All of the biggest podcasts, like them or not, all of the biggest podcasts, when they go viral, one thing they all have in common, regardless of what you agree or disagree with, is that there are women involved. very rarely the only time guys really go viral for something is when they are talking about women, talking to women, or doing dumb shit. All of those things get views, all of those things get likes, all of those things get retweets and all that other kind of stuff. But I wanted to bring you and people like you on to, again, have a good, honest conversation about what's really going on the dating market. But before we get into that, the last time my audience saw you, number one, you had red hair.
Yes.
Number two, you were on the Michael Sartain podcast. And number three, you were set across someone who has about as much hair as I do on the top of my head. And what ensued was pretty crazy. So talk to my audience about your side of the story. So let me paint the picture for you. So Marquette said to you, hey, look, I'm trying to look out for your daughter, et cetera, et cetera. And you like turned as red as your hair. And you completely went off on him. Again, agree or disagree. What is your side of the story, and what is your perspective on what happened on that podcast?
So there was a lot of like, before the show, we were all kind of like, chit-chatting and talking. And he was a different person. And now that looking back at it, he was just trying to be a little chameleon and trying to get like a little insight.
Sure.
And we were talking about, I was talking about my child and stuff like that, and my custody stuff. And then when he chose to go in and I think any mother would agree with me, when you start to talk to a woman about how that they could raise your daughter better than the mother, you're going in. And I also like, sometimes I regret it because I'm like, oh, he got my emotion. And I was also trying to calm the girls down. And I was trying to let them know, like, hey, these guys are going to come with their emotions or come at our emotions. And we got to like, let it happen.
Sure.
And he got me, but he also, said some things off camera that I definitely didn't agree with. I saw right through it that he was like a complete wankster, trying to portray this like street cred, and now he's this business guy who's got this knowledge. And as somebody from the hood, as somebody with some real life experience and insight as to, topics that we were talking about, I was like, you don't know shit. You don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, so you're going to talk about my kid. You're going to talk about my motherhood. That's something that I'm very, very private about, on social media. But genuinely, I do love to talk about it. And I love being a mother. I love all the lessons that I get to learn raising my daughter. So when someone sits there and tells me you're going to, you can raise my daughter better than you, or my daughter would listen to you more than they would listen to me, you go fuck yourself. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not afraid. I'm not a weak bitch. I'm going to come at you.
Sure. I was actually going to say, if Marquette were listening right now, what would you tell him? And I think you already said it. I think you told him to go fuck himself. Is that accurate on the record? Okay. Onyx Muse, go fuck yourself.
Someone pegs your fucking ass. You're stupid. You're trying to, start a podcast. I know of some insight. He's trying to get ladies to come on his podcast, whether that's successful or not. It's like, wow, how the hypocrisy, because not even just our show, but he's gone on Fresh and Fit and
Sure.
the whatever podcast, and he loves to bash women and bring religion and, like he's some saint and holy man. And it's like, and you think, I feel bad for any woman who actually believes him to manipulate them to go on his show. But I also, I don't, I'm not one to like bash other podcasts. And
Sure.
I always do believe that it's great to have diversity in podcasts.
Absolutely.
And whatever. He has a niche, he has a little thing. So yeah, but that's my opinion.
Okay, that makes sense. And listen, one thing that my audience will certainly say about me is that I lay all my cards out on the table. My demons are all out. I've told people that I'm a 4-time convicted felon. Actually, by the way, I don't know if I told you this. I might have told you this already, but yeah, I am a 4-time convicted felon.
Yeah.
But I actually got my felonies expunged in Clark County, so now I can vote in the state of Nevada. So yes,
Oh,
well,
congratulations.
I can vote. I can vote legally. I don't have to. I don't have to allegedly pay Mexicans to vote for Donald Trump. Anyway. So things are going well there, but yeah, I've never purported myself to be this perfect bastion of perfect red pill knowledge. Listen, man, I've got my blue pill days, I've got my blue pill tendencies, but at the end of the day, I try to live my life as consistently as possible, and I think that you and I have a mutual respect in terms of our lifestyles, and I think that's why the two of us. I think we have great on-screen chemistry, and when we talk on the phone, we'll be like, all right, I'm going to call you for 10 minutes. An hour and a half later, we're on the phone. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how that goes. All right, so let's get into it. Let me ask you the very first question, and the very first question about dating and relationships. The number one question that all guys want to know is, does size matter? So, Onyx Muse. Speaking from someone with your experience, understanding men and women, male-female dynamics, does dick size matter? Yes or no? If yes, tell us why. If no, tell us why.
No, I don't believe it because, and I know people are gonna, think I'm talking, madness, but no, I've been with men who have been very greatly endowed and the chemistry or the personality was just off. Like they were just, big dick, right?
Sure.
Or nice dick or whatever.
Right.
And I've been with men with not the biggest size, but their personality and our chemistry and the passion was amazing that I didn't care about that. So I think it's more so that, and maybe this is also lost, that men need to get passionate. They need to get, find their intimacy and their personality and humor.
Sure,
women love that. And affection. Affection is huge for women.
Okay.
So those things can always overrule things.
Okay. You hear the term a lot, big dick energy. That's something that is a new concept to me. What exactly is big dick energy? Like, I mean, is it confidence? Is it swagger? What exactly does it mean that someone has big dick energy?
Big dick energy is just completely different from insecurity. They're confident. They are not bothered, and mostly like not bothered by other men. Men are very competitive with each other, as human nature is. And that doesn't faze them. They are not worried about women. I do say there is big dick appetite. So sometimes with big dicks, they like a lot of women because they are, they have this great tool. But there's also been men who are very endowed and they're so focused on like business or like whatever like their passion is or their art, and that's hot because I'm like, oh my God, like you just have these women after you and you don't, or like these women who may come at you and you don't give a fuck. Or like if they're yours and they're so devoted to you, it's like, that's hot because you're like, oh my God. Like for women, like,
no, of course. Got a question in the chat. Quim says, what is big? So where is the line? Where is the line of demarcation? Like, like, is it like where does a dick go from being average to big? I mean, is it 8 inches, 10 inches, 6 inches? Is a short, fatty Coke bottle?
Everybody has their every woman has their size. I would say, for me, I would say in between like an 8 to a 9 could be great. I mean, 7.5 could be also great.
Sure.
But yeah, kind of in that range. It's like boyfriend dick,
Right. Oh boy. Oh, I like that. There's boyfriend dick and then there's side nigga dick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
I always look at I look at dicks like weight training. Like, some days you're gonna go, you'll try the big ones out because you're
Sure.
like, oh, let me
See what
test it
it's all
out.
about.
But if you want that daily stuff, that the boyfriend dick is
Yeah.
always great.
I like that. I like the concept of boyfriend dick. It also helps if your dick works.
Yeah.
I remember a while back. I forget what city I was in, but a while back, I met up with this girl, and we were like, we were partying, having fun, and like I tried to fuck her, and I've got a pretty decent sized tool, and so I tried to fuck her, and I did for a little while, but then my dick got soft. It doesn't really matter how big your dick is. If you can't
hate
get it
that.
up, it doesn't matter. Needless to say, I was embarrassed, and I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a second chance to redeem myself. So listen, I'll take the L on that. I will certainly take the L on that.
Women, we're compassionate.
Sure.
We can empathize if, things aren't working. But
Okay.
sometimes it sucks for us because, like, we get all riled up and then
Sure.
we're ready. And then we're like, and then also we're kind of like, well, you can eat me out or I could go get my vibrator. And those, and sometimes men they don't want to eat you out, and that's okay, right?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I don't eat pussy. I don't eat vagina.
But then they also get offended if we want to, use our toy to like.
We're weird like that.
So
We're weird.
Yeah.
We're weird like that. Listen. I'm a man. And any man who says that they're not insecure about their dick size is lying to you. That's just, listen, for good, bad, and different, that's how it is. I mean, dude, I know I don't have a small dick, but I mean, who isn't insecure about their dick size? Like, men being insecure about their dick size is women being insecure about their actual size. That's just how it is.
Sometimes we could get insecure about our tit size.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. This is a very good question. So, a man being insecure about dick size, what is the female equivalent of a man being insecure about his dick size?
What's the equivalent?
Yeah.
Oh, like for women?
Yeah.
Oh, women, of course, our boobs. That's always a huge one because we know, like, I wasn't like super, super small and I wasn't like super, super big. I was a little bit in between. But of course, like, I would be insecure that men didn't like small boobs or something like that, right?
Sure.
Because, the magazines and entertainment, it's always like big boob, right? And so I remember I used to wear 2 bras sometimes because it like looked good.
Oh, 2 bras. So that's you remember stuffing your bra, right?
Trick. Yeah,
wow, 2 bras.
And women, because we want to, it's like we want to attract the other mate. So when I was go-go dance, so I go-go dance, and I used to do that all the time. And then not until I was 23 and I got like with the older boyfriend, and he was like going crazy over my little boobs. And I was like, what?
Does he like this? Like, what the fuck?
I guess these aren't much. And he's like, oh, these are great, natural boobs. And it started to like make me realize that, like, wow, like, okay, men aren't really as concerned if they're not ginormous tits. Like,
right.
You could still have small tits. And then I actually ended up, I really loved my little boobs. Like, I loved, I embraced it a lot more.
Sure.
And I would have kept them if they stayed the same like look after having a baby, but it's okay, boobs. And that's the fun thing about boobs. They change sizes and then you can also adjust them, and the guys love it. So I feel like women were very insecure about that.
Okay.
Our booty size.
Yes.
Booty size has been, a lot more.
Of course.
in the norm. Sometimes I think women go a little too far with getting
Oh my God.
BBLs.
We will talk about that. Absolutely.
But it's their body. Their their body goals, and they want to do that. It's just so risky,
Yeah.
and the recovery is so terrible. And sometimes even men have said, "Whoa, it's just like too much."
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's and it could be a little like tough, but whatever. Men, women, we do it for ourselves. We do it to hopefully attract the type of guys that we want. And that's women. So definitely those things are number one,
Okay.
for women.
Carrie Renee in the chat, she says, size doesn't matter. It's what you do with it. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with that for both dick size and boob size. Like, don't get me wrong. I love big fake tits. That's my password. That's how I am. But I've been with girls with small boobs. I've been with girls with medium-sized boobs. And it didn't turn me off that she had small tits or medium-sized tits. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Would you say that that's kind of the same with dick size, or is it a little bit different?
It's a little different. See,
Okay.
boobs, they're just there.
Okay.
They're up top. The dick, like, you're actually got to do something.
That's right.
The motion in the ocean is like a real thing. And it's how you use it. It's how we get pleasured. But I think we also have to understand, like, for men who aren't endowed so largely, like, it isn't just that. Like, men need to understand women, we're mental.
Sure.
Like, you're using your guy and you're in our fucking ear telling us the naughty, like,
There you go.
sexy shit that we make you feel in our fucking ear while you're like in us and all that. Like, oh my God.
Let me
You
ask
go
you.
crazy. And sometimes men don't think about that,
Right.
or like they don't want to, they just think that it's like,
Just pound away.
porn, right?
Yes,
and so
right,
they're just
right.
like, oh yeah, she wants the hardcore and stuff. And it's like, calm down. Women are never gonna come that way.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Now. Oh boy, that was really good. So before we get into the nitty gritty, guys, you are watching the Honest Hot Girls podcast, episode 1. I may change the name of it. We are joined by my special guest, the lovely and talented Onyx Muse. Before we get into any more of the sex, dating, and relationship questions, talk about your time in the industry. Obviously, you've done adult films. You've worked at strip clubs. I think you probably still do work at strip clubs. You've done.
Working there last night.
There you go. Yep, hustling last night. Talk about your introduction to what you and I affectionately call the industry. How did you get in? How it affects your life, etc. Just give us sort of a Reader's Digest of that.
I don't have my story's a little different. So I had dated this older guy, and he knew porn stars. He was a photographer. And like the bi-curious girl in me was a little excited because I never really like met and hung out with other porn girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because like when they would hang out, they wanted somebody to like roll blunts and joints. And I actually had worked at a dispensary at the time, so I was like,
oh, sign me up.
Like, I got you. And we all hung out, and they were amazing women. They like really taught me how to like have sex, like for real, and
Mm-hmm.
how to be in tune with my body.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, we had fun. We had some parties, and me and the boyfriend were not working out, and I wanted to leave him, and he was threatening to put revenge porn up of me.
Oh boy.
And it was probably like the scariest like situation. And I hung out with the porn girls like away from him, and the girls were like trying to warn me, and then they were just like, like, why don't you just like, get in and like shoot some scenes, and then you got like some notoriety and he can like get off your back. And I was just like, I had my life. I was a go-go dancer, a regular model. So I had like 7 residencies at Hollywood nightclubs.
Holy
I was
shit.
also booking regular dancers. I had I had corporate contracts with these clubs that I
Right.
would get budgets for costumes for certain projects. I was doing music festivals. So he was really, I mean, this wasn't going to be, Onyx wasn't even a thing. This was going to be who my personal self and my reputation in this world. So I was like, I kind of thought it over, and my dancer, so first my dancer who she made my costumes for my go-go
Oh,
dancer.
cool.
She was like, hey, like, that's kind of crazy. She's like, why don't you come to work with me before you like get in
Okay.
at like adult industry? And I
Mhm.
was like, wait a minute. I was like, what's work? And she went to fit them, right? So I'm thinking, and she's amazing. Like, honestly, like me and her had a fallout, but she was an amazing like creative designer. I loved her outfits and stuff like that. And so she goes, well, I dance here, and I knew her from like my home girls from like my hometown. And so I'm like thinking about this, and I'm just like, oh my God, I am
Uh-oh. Am I really
a
about to do this?
professional dancer.
Yeah.
But I was in a crunch. My ex was stalking me.
Right.
I was like, he had all my money,
Right.
and I literally had like, I think I had like barely $100,
Oh my
and
God.
I was just like, okay. And so I went, and I had the best night. I made like $600.
Wow. There you go.
And it was so easy, but it was, the scariest part was like taking your clothes off.
Sure. Sure.
But it really, like, it wasn't
Okay.
after, like,
Okay.
and so then the first day that I worked at that club in LA, it was all nude, and this girl was like, "Oh my God, babe, you're like so pretty. Like, you shouldn't be dancing here and showing your nani." She's like, "Go to Vegas. It's 24 hours
There you
and
go.
it's only topless." And I was like, what the
Say
fuck?
who?
I was like, what is Vegas like? And so my homegirl was not, she was a little bit more introverted, and I'm definitely more extroverted.
Extroverted, right?
So I was like, girl, like, let's go to Vegas. I was like, come with me. And she wasn't about it. She kind of was like comfortable with her club in LA. And I mean, I was on fight or flight. I was like,
Survival
what?
mode, man.
Like, let's go. And so I did a few things. So even like I was dancing when I was with this guy. I was also we had a deep like BDSM relationship,
Okay.
and he was my dom, and
Okay.
I tried being, I was a submissive. So I learned a lot about it. So even before like going to Vegas, I was like, okay. So then I before I did like the adult industry, I saw this ad for financial domination, and it was like,
Wow.
be in LA, and I was
Yes.
like, you know what? I was like, let me try this fetish stuff. I was like, I did a little fetish modeling. He was a really great like fetish photographer, my ex, and we made like, we had so many sessions that we had like just this creative juices of like making this fetish content, and
Oh,
I got
wow.
real deep in it.
Okay.
And so then I went into the meeting. I went to this interview, and I was also like, no, I should just go to Vegas. Like, it was like I was staying with my girlfriend, but
Mhm.
it wasn't my place.
Right.
And I wasn't comfortable.
Right.
And I was really like, okay, I can, the go-go dancing was only about $100 a gig.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Right.
Maybe sometimes it'll go 200. So that's why I had 7 residents. So I was hustling on that side. There wasn't a lot of go-go dancers that had as many residencies
Right.
as I had. But we also, that was the hustle. You just kind of like work around all the clubs and stuff like that. But it was a lot of time, a lot of dancing effort
Of course.
compared to the stripping. So I tried out financial domination. I did this. I even like midway when the guy had asked me like what my fetish experience was,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of like brought me like immediately to like ideas about like my ex. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you know what? I don't even know why I'm here. This is ridiculous. I'm going to go. And the guy was like, wait. He's like, hold on. He's like, you will be very successful at this. He's
Okay.
like, but, you know, I need you to have the undivided attention to learn this. I'm not going to just give it to you. And like,
Oh,
when you're
okay.
23, 24, and you're just like, everybody gives me everything. What are you fucking talking
Of
about?
course.
Right?
Right.
That was
Sure.
my ego. That was
Yeah.
my entitlement.
Right.
And I left the thing and I was like, I had my cousin with me and I was like talking with it to girlfriends. I was like, should I do this? I was like, this is crazy, right?
Hmm.
They're like, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Like these are weirdos and whatever. But I was so passionate about fetish. I
Okay.
loved it. I just didn't want to do it with my ex.
Right.
So
Right.
I did it. I did the training. It was intense. It was pretty
Yes.
crazy.
Absolutely.
And kind of got the hustle. So I did dance a little bit,
Okay.
but I was also in between the dancing in LA. I was like learning this, domination.
Hmm.
And it was so intriguing. I did my first session and I did really good. And then I started to notice that the guy was somewhat exploiting me because
Oh.
I became in demand.
Oh.
But
Okay.
it was
Well.
intense because he's like speaking for me. He's like telling these people I am like experienced professional. I'm so sadist.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa, wait.
Slow down
Wait.
there, buddy.
I'm like, you can't be telling them that. I'm still trying to learn this shit, right?
Right.
And when I did like, the first session was like your initiation to see if you could do it. There was other women
Hmm.
getting trained.
Hmm.
And it was amazing because they were from different areas. One was from New York,
Oh
one was like
wow.
from Colorado.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so it was like I was in this like very like secret society type of shit, right? And the guy, and also keep in mind, I have my ex-boyfriend stalking, harassing me, having people harass me for him.
Ay, ay,
It
ay.
was incredibly like I never had that like happen.
So you were in demand in and out of the clubs, I see. Huh?
Yeah, but so I was like, I was just stunned. I was like, who the fuck is like,
Who's at my
I'm
door?
a normal person. I don't do nothing wrong to nobody. I left in good like intentions.
Good.
I'm like, but are you really trying to try me like I'm some dumb idiot? Like,
Right.
so I did it, and then I became so like good because the guy taught me. But I said, all right. I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck this. I was like, I'm going to Vegas, dyeing my hair red, and I'm going deep in, FinDom.
Absolutely.
But I'm also going to dance. And I'm
Good.
going to, if I find clients there, cool. But if I learn how to dance there and learn that world, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And
And here we are.
Spearmint Rhino for 10 years.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
I still I don't always find fetish guys, but
Okay.
definitely when I do have a fetish prospect, I go in
You
on
zero
them.
in.
I specialize in financial domination,
Okay.
so it's much more lucrative.
Yes.
At first, I would also do sessions like in casino, like hotels. There was a whole like system to it.
Mhm.
And kind of been in some dangerous situations.
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
That
Listen,
was a
on
trial
future-
and error, and that was also learning the risks when you don't do the tradition correctly.
Oh, okay.
When you
Okay.
try to misstep, and this is why, FinDom has become very popular, very mainstream, but also too, there's a lot of people who are watching it and thinking, I'm just gonna go put up and become a dom.
Right.
No.
Doesn't work
The
that way.
true dom has to learn from the bottom. So
Okay.
you have to become submissive
Oh.
in order to know who, like, you have
So you have to be trained to be a submissive in order to be trained to be a dom. I did not. Now that I didn't know.
And so when I hear, and this could be men and women,
Mhm,
oh, I'm just a dom. I just, I chose that role. Okay, then you don't know shit.
Right.
You don't know what it takes to surrender.
Yes.
And experience it, like devote your sanity for the outcome.
Right.
And it's
Absolutely.
a positive outcome.
Okay.
But it's a trust thing. Obviously, the person that you're doing it with, you're either attracted to them in some way, if it's like mental or physical or both. And that is why you do it. And that I have all the respect for actual doms.
Okay.
Men
Real doms. Okay.
Became a submissive and then, graduated into that. And that's what people don't understand. Not to say that women, now the internet is amazing because there's so many courses and
a lot of information out there.
You can learn it from true professionals, but back in the day, it was not like that.
No, of course not.
You had to go to a place. You had to go to a dungeon.
Hard knocks.
Guy.
Yes.
And,
absolutely. All right, we've got some questions coming in here. The questions are coming in hot and heavy. King Life with the $2 super chat says, Onyx, do some chicks have dick envy or penis envy? Do some of the girls you work with, do they have penis envy or, okay, sounds like they do.
Size queens, yes, they do.
Okay.
They are real. And I've noticed, especially like a lot of like adult stars or sex workers that, they're just like, oh, I just love that.
Just want a 10-inch dick and all that. Yeah.
Size. Right. And, unfortunately, that's what happens. But I think also they can tend to learn that sometimes the dick is just a dick.
Sure. Right.
And they want more.
Yeah.
They do want that affection.
Of course.
Maybe the big dick doesn't know how to do it. Or it's a plus if he does.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a thing. Just like if a guy gets with a woman who isn't as endowed of his his typical type. So.
Okay, all right, very good. Got a question from Alaskan K on my Discord. He says, Onyx, would you ever date a man that previously paid for your services? That's a very good question. Would you ever date a client or former client?
We would definitely, it would have to depend on our chemistry, our bond, if it was positive.
His money, maybe,
if it
right?
was, it has to be about personality because if he paid and he's a client and then we want to step into that realm where he's not paying, well, I better fucking like him in order for him to like date me and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
of course,
I mean,
of course.
Not going to say it's not possible.
Okay,
but.
all right. Okay, very good. Another question from Alaskan K. He says, do you think it's beneficial for men's masculinity and mindset to frequent strip clubs? That's a very good question.
Yes. Why not? Because I think that when you go to strip clubs, you're going to get a different type of women who are not at these bars, at those Starbucks barista, putting the representative. And I also feel like, men who are like online dating and they go on these Tinder dates and this, of course the girl's going to give, and vice versa, men too.
Sure.
They're going to give you your best representative. I'm great. I go to church and I, donate to this or I blah, 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 right? Because we want people to like them.
Of course.
And at least at the strip club, women, first of all, I do not go to the strip club thinking it's Tinder and you're going to pick up a girl because you need to be respectful to the fact that women are there for one thing, to get money,
to get paid,
satisfy their life, pay for their bills. This is an exchange. theoretically,
Yeah,
men, you should know what the fuck is up. Don't
that's
come in
right.
the club and offended because we don't want to go on a date with you before you've even bought a VIP, right? I'm just keeping it real,
Keep it
okay?
real, man. That's what's up. Hey,
Um,
so guys, listen. If you want to date a stripper, don't try to holler at her if you haven't bought a VIP. I'm just gonna put it out there a little bit.
and also too, a lot of men, especially with the red pill community, you can't handle it. It takes a real type of guy to
You
handle dating a
look.
stripper.
I'm gonna tell you what. I have dated about a half a dozen strippers. You're 100% correct. You've got to have a titanium spine. You got like, dude, you can't. And this really explains the reason why I'm just immovable in that way, because I've dealt with girls who are in the top 1%. In terms of looks, and it absolutely, you got to have balls of steel. Here's an interesting question. This is actually a question for the both of us. He says, "Oh, question for the both of you." A Braithwaite says, "What is your take on penis water pumps?" What is your take on penis pumps? Have you ever experienced a guy use? Because I use penis pumps every
Never.
once in a while. So what's your experience?
I mean, hopefully somebody didn't use it and I didn't know about it, but I cannot say.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how long it lasts.
It doesn't
So
like
this
if
is the thing.
yeah.
This is my take.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, think about women who were doing the two bra thing,
Sure.
right?
Right.
When you get down and busy and the bra's got to come off,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to go down. And
Right.
so if you're going to the woman, and let's say you guys have such a great bond,
Mm-hmm.
you want to go for the long term, not the short term. Well, then you got to have that awkward conversation like, hey, by the way, I've been pumping my dick and it's not really this side.
My dick really isn't this big. It's really
So,
kind of
um, but if you explain it and then you say, hey, look, I got a crazy idea. Let's try it together. I got this dick pump. Can we pump it up and let's figure it out?
let's
That's
go.
cooler than
Doing
being
it
an
like off in the slide.
imposter,
Like, all
like
right,
a
let me
dick
get this
imposter.
surprise. Look at my 9-inch tool, and then like 5 minutes later, it's literally half the size. I've got another. Here's another question from Alaskan K. And by the way, guys, just to sort of do a show reset, you guys are watching the Honest Hot Girls podcast. I'm joined here by Onyx Muse. Put your questions in the chat. Honest, genuine, fact-finding questions that have to do with dating, relationships, and sex. Guys, let's be respectful. If you're disrespectful, I'm going to time you out. You guys know how this goes. Listen, you have your opinions. I get it. This is not the time. I mean, listen. You can certainly have your opinions, but let's be absolutely. Let's keep it respectful.
Don't think with your dick.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Alaskan K again. He says, "How has your view of men changed before stripping to now? Has this affected your ability to fall in love?" Very good question.
Oh gosh. Yes, it has.
Okay.
I used to hate porn. I used to hate strip clubs only because I was in a long-term relationship for like 7 years.
Okay.
And my fucking boyfriend was like, sometimes I would catch him watching porn, or
Right.
he had previously worked in a strip club.
Mhm.
And so he would like tell me stories with his guys, and it used to annoy me. Right. And I used to like look at those women like, oh, like, fuck those women. Right.
Right.
And then it wasn't until my ex that I was with, the older guy, he would talk to me about his girlfriend that was in porn.
Mhm.
And I would just be like, oh, I don't want to know. But then it was like a new relationship, but I was like a little curious. And he showed me one of her porn, and it was so beautiful because she was like a ballet dancer.
Oh,
and
wow.
she was using her ballet skills in the sex scene. And
What?
from there, I was like, oh my God, I love it. And so when I got into it and I started learning, definitely going deep in with sex and, working in the strip club and meeting men, I started to, very be compassionate
Okay.
towards men that even though there's like a transaction trade or a fantasy that they're trying to fulfill, at the end of the day, men work hard and they want to satisfy themselves,
Right.
or
Of
they
course.
have a void that they're trying to fill because maybe it's like something that they want to try. And they're also silly and fun,
Of course.
and sometimes they can't be like that towards their girlfriends or wives.
Right.
And what a
Right.
fun like job that I've had to be able to make these guys happy or reach this
Satisfied.
like, little bit of
A little bit of naughtiness.
satisfaction of their fantasy, and also to like make them have a great story and be that focal point of that story, and then also too like they can go and have other women
Sure.
and create better experiences along their life. I
Okay.
think that if we stop judging men for having this sexual desire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
men love to watch women, but they fuck. They love to watch them get naked,
Yeah.
watch their bodies. It's
Yeah.
just who they are. They're
Right.
visual creatures.
Right.
Women were different, but I think like to think that a man doesn't look or have these things
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely crazy. So
Okay.
it's definitely completely changed my perspective.
Wow, very good answer, insightful answer. Aaron Moses on Discord says, "Do you think a man that is not a sex worker himself can genuinely love a sex worker while she is still active in the lifestyle?" $1 million
Yes,
question.
I can. Yes, I
Okay.
can.
Okay.
The thing is, like, there's some amazing couples, and actually, like tomorrow, I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah, you've
An
actually told me
amazing
about
porn
some of these
star
couples.
who's
Yeah.
marrying her boyfriend,
Hmm.
and when I see men who are not in the industry and they support their woman who, we have a very tough career. This is very thick skin,
Yeah.
regardless if you're a porn star, a stripper, cam girl, or whatever. But the fact is, like, women, we have to mentally get the fuck up,
Hmm.
look sexy,
Yeah.
get in this zone to perform, and with on top of some people shaming us.
Hmm.
So it can be hard, right? These people can be talking down on you, but when you have that man that is like, baby, fuck them. You are my queen. Like, you are beautiful. You are fucking hot. You're gonna go get this money. This if they're working with a guy or
Sure.
whatever, they're not even phased by that, because at the end of the day, the woman needs that. We have our girlfriends to pump us up, but it means so much more mentally for women to have a man that supports them in this industry and can help guide them, protect them from other, predators.
Right.
Like, I do believe that love can be found with a sex worker and a non-sex
Okay.
worker.
All right. Very good. Another question. This is a good question. Aaron Moses says, "Do you think a woman would have a better relationship with a man that's a former sex worker or that has never been in that lifestyle?" So, which do you think make better boyfriends? Men who have been in the sex industry or civilians, so to speak?
I have dated a
Both.
man in
Okay.
sex, a male
Hmm.
performer, and
What was that like?
I think they can be great boyfriends, because as many women as they're with, they do very much get in tuned with women,
Of course.
even like more than what the woman feels. But
Sure.
again, it takes a certain woman who is confident in themselves,
Hmm.
not insecure.
Right.
It was very hard, and I was very supportive of my guy that I was with in the industry, and he's amazing. To this day, we're still friends and we still talk.
Oh, cool.
But men have it a lot harder,
Yeah.
so they have to get on the good graces with these other performers so that these other female performers can request them for scenes.
Okay.
So I understood the business side of it, and it's just similar to like my side. You can't get caught up in the entanglements and
Yeah.
stuff like that
Right.
with other women,
Right.
because just like them, they're doing a job.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. Wow, good answer. Another question. When you're dating someone, do you usually keep it secretive or are you upfront or public about it?
I'm upfront in public.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
been, and then I had to learn that. Well, this is kind of what I learned. This is my take on it. I was in domestic violence situations. Um, Sometimes they always erupt when there's another person involved, and so when I got into the industry and stuff like that, and I
Hmm.
was serious about my career, I said, "Look, any guy you come my way, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I'm gonna tell you everything, even if it doesn't like if it hurts your feelings. I don't give a fuck because I would rather tell you
Hmm.
and let you know rather than you come back at me and say I lied, I cheated, I was doing
Right.
this because I'm not
Right.
that type of
Right.
person."
Right. Right.
So,
Have you ever kept it had you ever kept it a secret? You've been in the industry for a while. Have you ever dated someone and you kept it a secret and it blew up in your face, or have you always been upfront about it?
um, always really been upfront about it. There
Okay.
might have been situations where you're at work,
Hmm.
you don't got to go into the details.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like, the thing is that I'm also respectful that I don't talk about my situations at work
Yes.
around my
Right.
guy out of
Right.
respect
Right.
because I know that that could be very damaging.
Yes, it could be.
So yeah, so it's kind of like you pick and choose, but for the most part, I think it is important to be honest in this industry because it can really affect your work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. These are very good questions, very good answers. CigarMan85 with the $5 super chat. He says, as a stripper and in relationships, would you be jealous if he goes to another strip club and spent money on another stripper? Ooh.
I wouldn't be upset about him spending money on a stripper, but
Okay.
the thing that could raise some eyebrows for me is the chemistry and the connection. If you didn't tell me, but also like, hello, I'm in the business and I know
There you
human
go.
nature. So if he doesn't tell me, I can definitely figure it
You'll find
out.
out sooner or
And
later.
yeah, so, but also too, like, you gotta like let people do their actions. So
Okay.
when they see their actions and they
Okay.
see what they did, then I'm not gonna react crazy. I
Okay.
just gotta, keep it pushing, and
Okay.
I could hurt their feelings a lot harder than they could
Absolutely,
hurt mine.
absolutely. Boy, these are very good questions coming in. Aaron Moses on Discord says, "What are some methods a woman can utilize to not have her work take a mental toll on her?" See, because I'm talking like you and I, we've had extensive conversations about dude life, girlfriends, boyfriend. I mean, like
Yeah.
you and I have had really, really intense conversations. And you seem to be, because I know other girls in this industry. You and I know a couple of girls in this industry that are not quite right in the head, and it's clear that the industry has taken a toll on them
Yeah.
in a bad way. How is it that you have been able to, at least what it appears to be, even in person, you seem very level headed. You're not crazy like you've told me stories about other porn stars who are crazy. What are some things that you've done? What recommendations can you give girls who are in the industry to at least minimize the mental toll it takes on being in the industry?
Yeah, so I just like being a mom,
That's one way.
I think about when I was in my relationships. In order for me to do this work, right, and I'm in a relationship, and this man is giving me the privilege to
Hmm.
do this.
Okay.
So out of respect for him, it doesn't matter if I have someone requesting content or requesting me at the strip club, even though it could be good money.
Hmm.
I
Sure.
need to cut, discipline myself to
Okay.
set aside personal time for me and him
Hmm. Okay.
to have our relationship, have our time. I turn work off. And also too, like, I let guys know when I'm in the strip club,
Sure.
when the time is right,
Hmm.
especially
Hmm.
like if they become a regular, like I have a boyfriend and I'm going to spend time with him. And sometimes girls don't do that because they want to still seem, that they're single. And I'm sure that that can work, right?
Okay.
But eventually, like if you're actually honest with them,
Hmm.
I like. I've had these regulars be my longtime regulars for years
Wow.
because I am honest with them and I'm
Okay.
not also giving them pressure that I want to
There you
invade their
go.
life even more.
There you
So it's
go.
great. And and the guys will be respectful, and you also like, you can't control a client if, say, they want to go to the strip club and you're not available, or if they're
Okay.
online and you're not available, they got to go request a video for another girl. Oh fucking well, right? Oh fucking well, the money will come. I
Sure.
think having time to with your boyfriend, your actual partner, is
Okay.
important.
Okay.
And the money will, you'll come back and you'll get more money. So having the FOMO, really, really like growing mentally
hmm
strong to
hmm
be able to say fuck it,
I think,
whatever.
yeah, listen, I think there's something to be said because and I think, and listen, I'm not in the industry, but I've dated plenty of girls in the industry. The girls that the girls that are always on, always performing, whether they're with me or not that I'm, making it rain or anything like that, but like I've dated strippers and she's cinnamon on stage and she's cinnamon with me. And the girls that are cinnamon at midnight and this and that and the third, and they don't know how to turn it off. Those are the girls that really check out mentally, end up
Yeah.
doing drugs, killing themselves, et cetera, et cetera. However, I have dated girls in the industry that do take time to just let me just take a breather. Let me spend time with my kid, my kids, my boyfriend, husband, whatever the case may be. And they seem to be the most as mentally stable as it can get. Does that
Right.
sound accurate?
Yeah, it does. Sometimes there is like an identity like loss. Like sometimes
Yes. You
girls, they
blur the
get lost
lines.
in it, because also like when you go into the industry, they're not going to call you by your legal name. They got
No.
to call
Mm-mm.
you, and it's like it can be in conversations
Mm-hmm.
and like whatever. You're going to be addressed as your stage name.
Right.
So
Just like I'm doing
sometimes
now.
girls will take that so far, and
Wow.
when they get out of work or they're hanging with people, they'll be like,
They
yeah,
can't turn it off.
and this
Yeah.
girl
Right. Right.
always big dicks, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, calm down. Like, we don't got to do that. But there is some great ones that, like, they know, like, a lot of veterans that they know, like, okay, I got to put the show on, boop boop boop, cameras, blah blah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then once we're done, okay, don't bother me. I need to like go
Yeah.
into myself, who I really am. And
Yes. I got to
those
turn off.
women taught me how to be like that. And also like, um, it's just a good thing to live in your life.
hmm
Also be able to, have these other people in the industry address you as your real
Yeah,
name.
that makes sense.
And sometimes too, like, when girls are, if it's the strip club, if it's porn, and all they know is that men like them for
Their bodies. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
sucking dick,
Right. Right. Right.
twerking. And I think women need to, in this industry, they need to also take up some other hobbies and
Okay.
have some
Good
other
question. Yeah.
goals, so that isn't the focus. And when men see you working on something other than that,
Uh-huh.
that turns them on.
Yeah.
Not, they can find a million girls
Right.
who
To
are
suck
great
dick
dick
and twerk and all
suckers,
that.
who are
Right.
great twerkers,
Right.
and all that. Like,
Right. Right.
knowledge does turn men on when women have it.
Okay, very good. Shout out to Ken Rose. I'm going to trigger you here with this sound effect. With the $5 Rumble rant on the Rumble side. Ken Rose also, with the $5 super chat, asks a very good question. He said, greetings. What are the percentage of men you've dealt with that were virgins in relation to those that were married or in long-term relationships? Yeah, what are the percentage of men that you have performed for that are non-experienced? They're virgins as opposed to married guys or guys in relationships.
Oh, like like virgins
Virgins
to like
versus
the
married
strip
guys.
club and
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah.
I would say probably like a good 30%.
Wow. So one out of three. So
maybe
one.
even more, maybe 40.
So
but
one out of three guys. So one out of three guys, they're just green. They're just you can see them when they
yeah.
walk in. They're starry eyed. They're like, oh my god, there's all these pretty girls
love
around.
those guys. I love to corrupt them.
Is it easy to get is it easier to get money out of guys that are first timers, or is it a little bit more difficult because they're apprehensive?
There's a little bit of both.
Okay.
But I know how to do it. I think it's like I get so turned on because I was corrupted and I know. So, it goes back to like
Sure.
the Dom stuff.
Of
So
course.
it's like, yes, it is the power exchange.
Absolutely.
But also too, I love them because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna teach you how it's fucking done.
Right.
And
right,
I'm
right,
gonna
right.
make you bulletproof. 'Cause
Okay.
your little fucking shit fuck friends are not teaching you because they're having fun. So don't worry, I'm gonna fucking so it feels good to
Right.
be the one to like not only corrupt them and make them feel good, but
Mhm.
also teach them like, okay, when you're not with me, and that's gonna be okay. And you're gonna go into another strip club, but I want you to be the man.
There you
I
go.
want you to be in control
Okay.
because I don't want other women to think that they can
There you
corrupt
go.
you, manipulate you.
Got it. Oh, that makes sense. That's on the back end. King Life with the $2 super chat says, "Have you ever had a boyfriend on set while filming?" That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what was that like?
I filmed with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that makes sense. Have you ever filmed with somebody else?
He was never like at a scene, but my boyfriend was very he was experienced in the industry, so he actually would prep me when I would meet like a director or a certain performer
Mhm.
and stuff. So he was very supportive, and
Okay.
anytime like he would perform, I would be supportive of him because I was like, yeah,
Get it.
Get down those bitches, get them down. So yeah, no, I've totally had it. Like,
That's funny. Here's another. Now we're going to start to get into. Looks like we're starting to get into some relationship questions. King Life with the $2 super chat wants to know: do you expect your boyfriend/husband to pay your bills? Ooh, getting spicy.
so no, I don't.
Yeah.
because
Oh, no?
that's why
Okay.
I
Okay.
work.
Okay.
However, if my boyfriend has a problem with me working,
Uh-huh.
well, then he needs to put up or shut up.
There you go.
But I will say, even if I've had a boyfriend, I've had plenty that have offered that.
Okay.
I'm a type of person, I cannot not work. I'm a worker. I like to do it, even if it's not this work, I would do some other work because I just can't help it. And I do think that women should still work in case situations
Okay.
don't work out and you still have a backbone to follow. So
Okay. Man, you are killing it. People, dude, the reviews are in. Man, there are so many fantastic questions.
these are really good questions.
Yeah, they're very, very good questions. Here's another question. What is a line that men can't cross with you, whether it's in the strip club, on set, et cetera, et cetera? What's out of bounds?
Controlling,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm a dom, but I think just like when I'm kind of free flowing with you, I'm not pestering your life and all that. Like if the jealousy or the insecurity gets out of control and you want to control aspects of my life,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be gone. Definitely shaming me of what I do. I don't like that. And oh my gosh, mostly the control. I'm a Gemini, so like I need to be free flowing and have my life. So like to be like controlled and overly like, where are you going? What you doing? Blah blah
Right.
blah. Like I hate that. Like
Okay.
that would drive me crazy.
Okay.
I would just be like, so yeah, that's kind of a line for me.
Okay. Here's another question by Transit in the Discord. I'm going to reword it because I think I know what he's trying to ask here. How does your dating perspective? What is your dating perspective, knowing that most men that commit to you would rather you do something else for a living. This is it's almost like a continuation of the last question, but clearly most men do not want to or can't handle or don't want to handle dealing with a woman on a romantic level that is in the industry. What is your thought process when, you take a liking to a guy, knowing that most likely he probably would rather you do something else?
Well, this is how I kind of maneuver with this.
Okay.
I know who I am. I know why I'm doing this. And I have a purpose as to why I sacrifice myself to do something so controversial.
Yeah.
I'm a mom.
Okay.
I have a child.
Okay.
I have a life that I want, I expect, or that I will work hard for so that I have that for my daughter. So yeah, of course, I'm not dumb. Like, I know that men don't want me doing this, but then I have to let them know, okay, so you met me doing this, right? Wasn't a problem then. You're in this, and I
Right.
know you're kind of taking this step to the next level. Well, if you don't want me doing this, well, then what are you going to do to make me upkeep the life that
There you
I'm
go.
paying for?
Okay.
And are you going to help me transition into something? Of course, I'm going to transition myself and I will move at my pace, how I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are uncomfortable with it, you should either not date me if it's too much, or fucking work hard and fucking help me get out and do something better.
So, and I've actually said this before, and I was actually with Glenn Lawrence. And I remember I was doing a podcast out there in Vegas, and I was staunchly on the side of, listen, if you are dating a girl in the industry and you don't want her to be in the industry, then guess what? You need to replace the finances in the industry. Kanye West is now being sued by a woman for, wrongful termination or whatever. She claims that he raped her or whatever. And that's neither here nor there. But he really took a liking to this girl, but she was an OnlyFans model. And he said, look, I want you to quit OnlyFans. And so her response was, okay, well, if I quit OnlyFans, how am I going to make money? He says, I'll pay you $1 million a year not to be on OnlyFans. That's kind of what it sounds like you're saying. And I agree.
But now look at what's going on. You got to look at the long term, because I've done this. I've quit the industry for a man and, making him happy. And I thought it was the good thing. But then what ends up happening, because also you have men money really affects men's emotions.
Yes, it does.
It does. And so
yes, it does.
When you take that role, right, the guys, they're going to say whatever they can because, they want you to be there for them.
Right.
And have that cuddle time, have that let's go to lunch and all that. And then when the bills start adding up and work starts getting pressured because they have this responsibility of this other person's
Yes,
bills.
right.
I've been in a situation where I've had the guy resent me and say, oh, well, you're broke and you don't support, like, probably, we had arguments, right? And
Sure.
we would get there. But the fact that you say that, so when you say that to a sex worker, well, guess what? She's going to come out and I had to say, oh, I'm broke. I'm a broke bitch, right?
Right.
Let me go get this money, and you're not going to like the way I go get it.
Yep. There you go.
Gotta shut them up. So, and then also, like, okay, if that causes a problem, I think women, like, don't be afraid to go back into the game and get what you need, because I've had to do it several times and
Sure.
It's helped me bounce back.
Good.
But at least now you have to learn from that wisdom. And I think also men have to understand, like, if you are going to take a sex worker out of sex work and take that responsibility and then shame her for not inputting or not contributing,
It's counterproductive
or whatever, and you think that you're going to talk to her like Shelly who works at Kmart, you're tripping. You're tripping.
Shelly at Kmart.
Because she's going to go deep in, like, hold up. I got this I got these sugar daddies.
Right.
They were not even pressuring me. They were giving me money.
Yes.
And taking me shopping.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, they
you
have.
think I'm going to put up with this?
Wow.
I don't care how big your dick is.
Hashtag Shelly at Kmart. That was fucking awesome.
I don't know if Kmart's still open, but
Is it? I think we totally just dated ourselves there. I don't know. Somebody find that for me. Is Kmart still around? I don't know.
But you guys get the point.
Well, of course, absolutely. Shelly at Kmart, Walmart. Here's another question. What would you say is the main reason your relationships end these days? In other words, I guess what they're asking is, why do your relationships end while you're in the industry?
Because they can't handle
Okay.
the insecurity. And also, it's not even that they can't handle that. For men, they think that I'm going to potentially fall in love with one of these guys and run off into the sunset and all that. And sure, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm sure there's situations where,
because you get proposed, you get offers all the time. Like I'm sure you listen. I'm sure you get
so
guys doing this all the
funny
time.
for me because I'm a very, very loyal person when
Okay.
I do have somebody. So I always like when I go into work and you know, even like other people like women who like judge me for
Sure.
doing this and they
Mhm.
don't know what it's like. Bitches, I don't give a shit what you think. I got my eye on the prize. I am there for the business. I am there to reach the goal. I don't give no fucks what you think. And even if that's a man that I'm in a relationship with, if you're gonna constantly like, you know, I'm gonna tell you what's up and you
Mhm.
know that I'm doing business and then you can't handle it, well then we can't be together because
Right.
you're gonna fuck me up for work. I need to mentally go in there. Good, life's good. I need to drain all these wallets.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm focused on.
Good. By the way, got an update. Sean Morris in the chat says the last Kmart in the continental U.S. is set to close tomorrow. So,
Whoa.
so Shelly at Kmart,
Shelly,
listen.
we got a job for you.
I was gonna say, Shelly, look, man, if you instead of hitting the employment line, hit up your girl Onyx at Rhino. She'll get you all squared. See you and Shelly were at each other's throats, but now you guys might be able to find common ground. That's very, very interesting. Here is another oh boy. Do you think men just play the game long enough to be able to sleep with you for a few months? That's interesting. Have you ever been finessed by a guy who pretended to like you only to sleep with you?
You gotta understand something.
Okay.
I am from the adult industry and I know sex. Do you think I am not in tune with what men have to say in order just to get that? Because I can tell in their personality if they're not asking about me, if they're not genuinely interested in what I got going on and what I mean, I can, you know, put two and two together. But then also too, I may use them for what they're using
There
me
you
for.
go.
So you have to, I'm not emotional and I don't get, when I was in my BDSM relationship and I did a polyamory relationship, I really worked on my jealousy skills.
Jesus,
so,
you had to.
I'm not going to say that not, you know, there is women in the industry who haven't had that realization. So for me, I'm bulletproof. Maybe sometimes I could get a little jealous.
Sure, you're human.
But I don't let it take over me.
Okay. What are some tells? What are some phrases, actions, body language that tells you that a guy is being disingenuous with his intentions? Because to me, the truest form, relationships are transactional. The truest form of a relationship is between a John and her client. Because without the money, there is no sex. Without the sex, there is no money. That's transactional. If I'm in a relationship with a girl, if I'm not having sex with her, we're not in a relationship. So what are some things that guys try to do that to try to fool you into sleeping with you for a while that are like, okay, wait a minute, you did or said that, now I know what's going on.
Oh, I'm going to put my little secrets out there. I hate it
We're going to build an empire together, girl.
I hate it when men call me baby and I immediately turn that down and I go, you better get a creative name better than that.
Okay.
Several bitches baby.
Right.
It's not special.
Good.
I
okay.
can tell the way that they hold my hands.
Oh, how is that? How?
I can tell the way that they hug me.
Hmm.
If they, I can tell a lot of things. Body
What does hand
language
holding
is
tell you?
very, huh?
What does hand holding tell you?
It's the way and how the grip is of if they really want to hold my hand, if they really want, and not to say like, yeah, there's probably some players that they know this and
Sure,
whatever,
of
but
course,
it's the feeling. It's all in feeling. I'm a very, very intuitive, empathic person,
of
so
course.
I take all of these very seriously. But also, I've been cheated on. I've had men. Before I got into this industry, I have experienced, cheating, heartbreak,
Of
lies,
course.
deceit. So I've learned from a lot of wisdom, but if you're gonna play me, I'm
Yeah.
gonna play you even harder.
Okay, fair enough. Transit on the Discord site says, "How do you cope with the emotional demands and how do you deal with the emotional demands and the premise of your job? In other words, how do you mentally deal with the emotional demands of being in the industry?"
I'm very spiritual,
Okay.
so I meditate, I do mantras, I have
Self affirmations, things like that.
candle like ceremonies, stage. I mean, it sounds like cuckoo. Like some people can be like,
Crystals and
"Oh, that shit's
rainbows.
weird," but really, it does fucking help. And I make sure my aura is all good, mind, body, spirit, all of that inside. So that is personally how I cope with that. And I understand, like, I have to do this
Have to.
before I go
Yeah.
and work in the
Yes.
darkness.
Absolutely.
I see, I was seeing, I haven't seen her in a while, but I had this astrologist, and I would do these readings, and she would let me know, like, you work with a lot of spirits, a lot of, and the spirits are ranging. They're good spirits and there's really bad, dark spirits. So it's really important to self care.
Of
Just
course.
take a moment to regroup from what you experienced, and you have to always like cleanse yourself.
Okay. Wow, these are very good answer. CDL on in the Discord. Oh, I'm sorry. Cigarman85 with the $5 super chat says most people retire by the age of 65. At what age will you retire from the sex industry and why?
I am going to retire. My goal is before 40.
Okay.
But not in the sense, like, I would say being a performer.
Yes. We've
I
had
have
conversations
so
about
much
this. Yeah.
insight into the business and the behind the scenes around the business that I would love to still work around the adult industry
Okay.
with some aspects of it, but more so behind the performers, teaching performers. I am working on a workshop so I can teach women all the hustle tricks and all the things that I do to do this. Because there's nobody teaching you.
Right.
I did it. I had to do it. I had to learn all on my own. And there's good people
And
there's
very bad people.
women who, they would want to help you win. And there's some that are haters. So for me, with all this knowledge, I think now I'm turning more so into like an advocate, education, teacher, with everything that I know. So
Wow, good answer.
No.
So you learn from the school of the hard knocks, and you want to be an advocate for women who are new in the business so they don't get taken advantage of. In terms of, now we know that there are good and bad people in every industry. What percentage in the industry, being a sex worker, which sex is easier to deal with or harder to deal with? Is it easier to work with men or easier to work with women?
Women in what sense?
Oh, wow.
Are we talking about like lesbians?
No. I'll put it to you this way. In terms of good people and bad people in the industry, is a bigger percentage of men in the industry good versus bad? Or the percentage of women? In other words, are there more good men than good women in the industry, or vice versa? So, in other words, which sex has the higher percentage of good people versus bad people?
Women, of course.
Wow. See, because a lot of people, Onyx, say, well, men only get into this industry and they're exploitive and this and that and this and that and a third. But I think women like you say, listen, man, there are a lot more women who are after your throat than men. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Why do you
like,
think that is?
And this is what I had to learn. Like when I did professional go-go dancing,
Mhm.
there was at least a decorum that you had to be respectful to the
Mhm.
other girls. You couldn't like publicly, like, or even behind the scenes when we're rehearsing, go attack the girls. But there was a lot of shit going on behind the scenes around it. Like you could feel the vibes, but you
Sure.
just had to like work with this person.
Okay.
At the strip club, you gotta like this is where we go back to the thick skin.
Mm.
You gotta be prepared
Yeah.
that you are just an independent contractor.
Yep.
These men who work there, they're not fully going to protect you in the sense that when a bitch wants to come at you,
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna come at you. You
Right.
gotta defend yourself. So there is a misconception that girls are fighting. And yes, it happens in many aspects because when money is involved and women are getting money from clients or working together, or one gets a better opportunity than another,
Oh boy.
tensions rise. And also, like, you can't be no sucker bitch. Like, if some bitch is gonna come at you, like, especially like the number one rule, and it's so weird because this is changing, and the veterans taught me this.
Okay.
When you are on stage, and whoever the little bit of customers that are around that stage are yours.
Okay.
And if a bitch comes up and tries to talk to those guys while you're on stage,
Yes.
you have the green light to tell that bitch to go fuck off, and no manager can say, I mean, this is how it should be done.
Absolutely.
And when I do that, men actually like it.
Okay.
And then also it allows bitches to say, hey, when I'm on fucking stage, this is my time.
Right.
You have a million guys over there, so you can go over there.
Mhm.
And there's a way, like, you don't got to get super nasty with it, but you got to be direct.
Yeah.
And almost nice nasty, but you gotta
Nicety.
can't let people, like walk all over you.
Okay.
So it is, it's a lot. And it also, it can happen in clients, like,
That's right.
if we have guys paying us to hang out or going to like a club or going to a thing, and then they want to come at you. It's like, well, bitch, you better be ready to come at me because I will fucking tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, you're not going to fucking talk to me like this. So it's just, tensions rise. And
Yeah.
sometimes girls can be just way too competitive.
Okay. Well, listen, we all know that girls are competitive.
Yeah.
What percentage, how can I put this? It is a well-known fact that strippers, OnlyFans girls, when they do work in the club, they sell they pop the pussy on the side. What percentage of strippers do you know that pop pussy on the side?
Oh, God.
Is it 50, 60, 10?
About maybe like 30% of girls do that, because there's not a lot of girls that are like very like strict, candid. They work in the club. They don't go outside of the club. And the other girls that do that, like, you have to kind of wait until the signal is good, like
Okay.
that they can be allowed to like tell another girl without like any retaliation, like telling the manager or whatever. And also too, like, you can't be mad. Like, if the girl's gonna do it, like, that's her prerogative,
Sure.
whatever. But as long as she's being safe, and and I always, like, if girls tell me they do that and whatever, I don't judge them, and I always let them know, hey, if anything fucking happens, you can call me. I got you if I can, right?
Sure.
But you just can't judge. I mean, people are gonna do what people
People are
want.
going to do what they do. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, listen, if a girl if she wants to sell pussy on the side, that's what she's going to do. You guys are watching the first official episode of Honest Hot Girls. I don't know if that's going to stay the same way. Who knows? Let me just a quick reminder, guys, be respectful. Listen, you can disagree, but disagree respectfully. Let's not troll. Let's not be cruel. This is not Fresh and Fit. This is not the whatever podcast. This is not the Michael Sartain podcast. This is a conversation and an interview just strictly to get information. People are going to be, listen, if you want more girls to come on and be candid like this, we're going to have to be respectful, because girls are not going to go where they're going to be dunked on all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a time and a place for that. This is not the time nor the place. This is a very good question by CDL in the chat. He says, how do men typically gain your trust and attention to the point where they're able to meet up with you outside of the workplace and have a connection? Wow, good question.
Well, they're gonna drop a lot of money in the club.
Real talk.
I mean, they gotta show me that they're paying. It's such a slippery slope because it's like few and far. But I do, I had some ones that did that, and but also too, like,
aside from the money, right?
My thing was also like, you better have an itinerary. Like, I'm not just going to your room. Like, you really better go to the dinner, nightclub, a fucking
wine me and dine me.
You want to go around town. I'm just not going to. If you're looking at me thinking that I'm just going to give you a price for some alone time, to be put in a situation where you're going to try to fuck me, like, or if you think I have a number for that, no, you're not going to get my trust that way.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Excellent question. Here is another. Alaskan K wants to know how often do you party, and he asks, what are the top 3 wildest parties you've been to? Just give us a quick story of the wildest shit you have ever seen at a party. And I can see the mind already working. I can tell you that there's more than one.
Because I've lived in Hollywood, and how I even found this world was a very crazy party.
Wow. Okay.
But
do tell.
Also, like, I go to music festivals, I go to raves a lot. So, like, I go to those parties, and those are like, that's my enjoyment. Like, that's actually what I do outside of working. I love going to, like, music events. But if you want to talk about, like, crazy parties, I mean, Holly weird ain't Holly weird for no reason.
Man, you are not kidding. Speaking of which, let me just divert. What are your thoughts on the Diddy situation? Like, what the fuck?
To be honest, I'm not surprised
at
all.
Okay.
I actually went to a party where I did meet Jay-Z.
Okay.
Nothing crazy like that happened.
Did you meet him, or did you meet him?
Like, I met him at this party with himself, no security. After, like, it was like during the Magna Carta concert, because we went to the Magna Carta concert, then we did the after party at the club, and then we went to the after party where he was, like, literally, like, chilling and stuff. But I did meet him through these crazy people who did bring me to wild parties.
Oh boy.
But honestly, I'm not surprised now, like, how they're saying that the baby lube was laced with the GHB.
There you go. There you go.
Parties that were going on, because, like, in LA, like, after I got out of my serious relationship with my boyfriend, I did get, I didn't have the guard dog on me, and I ended up turning into these situations where I was always going into these, like, freaky secret society parties that were, like, orgies and shit.
Freak-offs.
I didn't like super, like, get involved, but I watched. But there's an element, and also too, like, with all these celebrities, and then you also have all these lost people. They don't call it Los Angeles for nothing.
Los Angeles, yep.
They come, and they're wanting to do acting, wanting to elevate their
Of
career in
course.
some way and thinking to like attach themselves. You know, I met like girls who are just models and porn girls and
Sure.
escorts and you know, the stuff they were doing. And there was even some girls who were like asexual and they weren't even really into it. They just had to do this
Right.
because they wanted to, you know, get aligned or get money. And it's very dark.
Okay. Okay.
Dark.
Very good. So you're not
I've
surprised.
seen some shit.
Listen, on a future podcast, I'd like to get a story. H.MPEG on the Discord site says, "What are your thoughts on the rise of female sex workers turning to substance abuse and or committing suicide?"
Well, okay, so I knew a lot of you know, there was a porn girl, Cagney. She just recently,
Cagney Lynn Carter.
yes.
Yeah.
I was so in Tampa, like I'm going to this night moves, and it was a bunch of porn girls. And we have to think in mind, like Cagney was from that Jenna Jameson era, that
Yes.
other
The old school. Yeah.
era right before all of this getting set off. And you know, I feel so bad for those girls that they had it much easier, but then also much harder after,
Mhm.
because some of them, when they had to like kind of get back, if it's like events and stuff, they thought that they had to continue to perform and, you know, do scenes or do stuff to stay relevant, even though they were like household names. They
Yeah.
already had a name for themselves.
Right.
But it was very like, you know, this world is very lonely.
Yeah.
So, and this is also like strippers, you know, you people, and I say the civilians, you think your shame and ridiculing these women is, you know,
Harmless.
justified because of your belief system of however your stance is. Well, guess what? You're just furthermore help, you know, because remember I said you need to have the mindset to
Yes,
go into this work.
you do.
That is why these women are turning to that, because
Wow.
you know they're questioning themselves. And also I was just speaking to a gentleman last night. I said, you think women are in here like we're on fucking Tinder and we're hoping a guy comes in to ask us on a date?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're mothers, we're domestic violence survivors, we're women trying to get away from the bad experiences, and we're risking, we are
It's a risky job.
sacrificing ourselves
Yeah.
to go into this work, whatever it is, if it's porn, camming, you know, stripping, whatever. And we have to keep a mentality. Like I say, I'm mentally strong, but I come from a different cloth,
Sure,
right?
of course.
But there's a lot of girls, and I've met a lot of girls in this industry, and this is why I advocate so much for women, and I want to help them, because I've lost girls to drugs. I've
Right.
lost girls
Right.
who, you know, they just couldn't keep a hold of themselves. They've died. There is several deaths, and it's so sad because they were beautiful
Yeah.
people and they just got wrapped in this like very incredibly like tough world that, you know, some, they are not mentally strong,
Yeah.
and that's why they're gonna, you know, August Ames
Oh,
killed
another one.
herself
Yes.
from online bullying, and they try to say that she was being homophobic. No, she has a choice, and she said, I didn't want to do certain things because there is a you know, an aspect of our industry that men are doing gay for pay stuff under a different alias. And she was letting it known that, you know, she doesn't want to perform with a man who performs with the man because of her body. She was married, and if she doesn't want to do a scene with that, she doesn't have to. And
So
there's people from the industry, but there's a lot of people online saying that she's homophobic,
Mhm.
she's stupid, she needs to get a life, told her to kill herself, and she said, okay, fine, you guys win. So
Wow.
it, you know, as much as you people are curious about our world and stuff, and then the, you know, comments that you said, like
Yeah.
even last night I had some fucking piece of shit loser hit me up on like Twitter and try to be like, yeah, what's your rate to collab and like, blah blah blah, but like not an industry person by any means,
Sure.
and I don't even shoot with guys anymore. And it was just like, no, thank you. I don't do that, and I'm not a hooker that you could just book like just
Sure.
because you have an OnlyFans.
Right.
And then this guy had the nerve to like sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not some Jenna Jameson girl. I'm a hooker." Excuse me. I'm a hooker. I'm a hooker who declined your offer,
Oh boy.
and I didn't want to sleep with you. And then you're gonna shame me because you literally have like less than 500 followers on your fucking account. You have no picture of yourself. Who the fuck are you to be contacting me, a mainstream performer who has actual big productions, and you think you're on some fucking level to shoot with me because one, you're turned on by me, you watch my porn, you are a fan, and you have an OnlyFans?
Right. Yeah, that is a little bit strange. We have Glenn Lawrence in the chat.
Oh, hi.
Glenn Lawrence with the $5 super chat says, just wanted to stop by and say hi, what's up, Donovan, and say hello to homegirl Domo. Glenn Lawrence also with a $10 super chat says, Donovan, this beautiful woman was one of the girls I was trying to get on the How to Relationship podcast when that was me. That was me.
Yeah, he did tell me about that. We just never got around.
Yeah, you had a scheduling conflict. I wish he had booked you instead of the other girl, because the other girl, I had to kick her out after like 5 minutes. Like she was.
I think it was because you guys were doing it on a Sunday, and those are kind of like my days with my daughter.
Yeah. It was a Sunday. So yeah, listen, I live in Reno now, and I will certainly be down there in the not too distant future. Let me switch gears here and talk about your life as an attractive woman. Clearly, and I think it goes without saying that obviously you're very, very attractive. You guys live a very different existence. Obviously, there are a lot of upsides to being hot. Onyx, what are the downsides? Like, what's it like moving through life knowing that just about every man who sees you wants to have sex with you? What's that like?
Sometimes it could be a little like overwhelming, or also annoying.
Okay.
Because sometimes like I do like want to just like talk to them about like editing or like software or DJing or whatever. And then like, when they have to like tell me, like verbally tell me like their thoughts about me in person, and I get it. Oh, it's because of my career. You think I want to hear this.
Right.
It does make me have a little down respect because I'm like, do you think I'm that easy? And I'm gonna be like, oh my god, you think I'm so fucking hot and you want to shove your dick at me? Oh, give me your dick, right?
Sure.
So but also I can't complain because I do need to uphold this type of look and a type of status and aura when I'm doing my job. So I get it, the nature of the business, but sometimes I also I like to like fuck with people.
Sure.
With this hotness. So, it goes both ways, and you just gotta also like set your boundaries where you're just like, great. I didn't want to know that if I didn't want to know that at that time.
Right. What are some of you've been in the industry, particularly in the strip club industry, for a little over a decade. Dude, girls don't normally last that long. It's almost like the NFL. The average NFL career is 3.5 years. And a lot of times they end up retiring early because of injuries or they just couldn't handle it. Why have you been able to stay in the industry so long and not be strong? I mean, you don't look like you know what girls look like in the industry when they get strung out on drugs. They're sullen. They look like prostitutes. You don't look like that. You still look healthy. You still look strong. How have you been able to do this for so long and maintain your physicality and your, not going mentally crazy?
I definitely love working out. So I worked out. The biggest challenge of my life was bouncing back from being pregnant.
Of course.
But also too, like I don't overdo it. I don't get work on my face. I've never touched my face with any type of like plastic surgery. type of things. They don't do lip fillers.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with girls
Sure.
who do that, but then you get to this point where you are going to keep going at it. I'm really like, I don't like to be addicted or attached to anything, like
Okay.
have a commitment of something. But I just really take care of myself. And I also like, when I did choose to like get my boobs done, I didn't want to go so big and
Right.
be overly. And there's nothing wrong. I have amazing girlfriends. I have great big fake tits
Sure.
or
Right.
fake asses. But really, I'm just always keeping it. I do this, like I kind of always keep myself in the ideal girlfriend look.
There you go.
Um,
Nails done, hair
I'm
done.
still, yeah, I'm still like that fantasy, but I'm also like, I want them to maybe like, if they saw me at Starbucks, then they would still approach me.
Okay.
Like, I know, well, I am intimidating, but I know that there's other women who are like super intimidating. So I
Sure.
think that's kind of why. But really, too, like, I mean, I'm a good conversationist.
Sure.
I know how to hold a conversation. So I think I've been able to stay really heavy in the game is because of my intellectual knowledge, like insight and knowledge on how to speak to them, sell
Yeah, of course.
money,
Yeah.
and also keep a relationship for them to keep coming
Okay.
back.
Wow, very good. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and I think you actually mentioned it before, is knowing when to turn it on and knowing when to turn it off, because you have, just like you said, you have to get into a mental state in order to be Onyx Muse. But hell, I don't even know what your real name is. If you want to
Domo,
be, oh, right,
Domo,
Domo. If you want to be Sarah Smith or Domo Smith when you get home, you
yeah.
actually have to turn it off, because you can and will get burned out. This is an interesting question. What was it like taking your clothes off in front of strangers for the very first time? Was it scary? Was it funny? Was it fun? What happened?
It was like scary because I mean, even though I work out a lot and I make sure like I physically feel good, it was like nervous on
Sure.
how people were going
Are they
to,
going to like my
take
body?
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when their faces, like, because they got like cold faces, right? You
Sure.
like, when their faces turned into smiles,
They're like,
or they
"Hey."
were like excited, or they threw the money. Well, then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, why was I so scared at first?
Sure.
So, yeah, it's interesting. It was more so like catching their vibes with their facial features
Okay.
that
All
made
right.
me like more comfortable.
Okay. Very good. You're doing very well. We've
You
only
like to see me naked?
Hey, look, man, if being naked gets you paid, then there you go. Just a few questions left. Here's an interesting question. If you are not in the industry, what else would you have done for a living? It's a good question.
I went to school for sound engineer and music production,
Oh,
so
that's
that's
right.
a
Yep.
big one for me. I also did a little bit of film school,
Okay.
and that was like super exciting. Like I really found Foley so nerdy, but I found
Okay.
that to be fucking interesting. And ironically, it's not really male dominated.
Oh,
Or
oh,
I think it is male dominated, but there are some great women. There's not a lot of women in it, and they're kicking ass in it. So but I just also I was a legal secretary for a real estate attorney for a long time, and
okay.
I really got knowledgeable of like law. I am a little considering going to law school just
Okay.
to, do divorce law or,
Domo at law. There we go.
prenups maybe. But yeah, I'm really good at computers and nerdy shit.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, who knew? Who knew, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people, men and women alike, and I think that's probably one of the downsides of being a super attractive woman, is people automatically assume that you're sort of hollow upstairs, right?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, most hot girls are hollow upstairs. Like, you know, like the stereotype does not exist for no reason. But what is the response? What's the response from men clients when they figure out, oh, wait a minute, like she actually can hold a conversation? What's that like?
So they get excited.
Okay.
Like I had there's like these finance guys for a finance conference, and we were having conversation, and then he was like bringing up the elections, and
Oh boy.
I was able to talk politics with him, and also too, like I was talking to this to a guy last night.
Mhm.
I think women also need to understand that if you are going to go into this world where, yes, you're going to inspire a man to dig in their
That's
pockets and
right.
give you money with a smile on their face. Before you do that, you got to build rapport. It's
Right.
good to watch sports,
Ah.
football, golf, stocks, like all these things that men like, so that you can talk about it, because that turns men on. If
Right.
you can actually be able to talk about these things that men care about,
Yes.
aside from, oh papi, like you want a VIP, you want to go to the back, like
Right. Right. Right.
it's
Right.
like, don't like, because also too, men work very hard,
Yes.
and they also know that women can use them, and they don't want them to not, it goes a long way when you ask them what their name is and you can actually fucking remember it. Like,
Huh.
but if you are so concerned about dancing and going in the back, they can see right through you. And unless if they're a guy that they're like, all right, fuck it, whatever, they'll go. Well, guess what? You're not going to have a regular like that.
Right. Right.
And that's what you got to do. That's what you should focus on as a dancer, is having a regular
Okay.
and having them come back, so that you're working smarter and you're not always coming into the strip club on ground zero.
Hmm.
I need to get these many guys. Like I have guys hit me up.
Yes.
They let me know when they're coming to town.
And that's where you want it to be. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to the club, and I definitely know I'm gonna make money. In that same vein, as we round third and head for home here, in your opinion, what are the top 3 or 4 mistakes that women make when they're in the sex industry, when they're, stripper, porn star, OnlyFans girls? What are some of the biggest mistakes that women make that end up getting them burned out, or ending up like a Cagney Lynn Carter or an August Ames or a Shyla Styles?
The big one is okay, like if it's with a customer or whatever, making it seem too much that you want to be with them.
Hmm.
Now, we want them to fall in lust, okay?
Okay.
Yes, we want them to adore us, but when we're in the time. So I was talking to this with some men. A lot
Mhm.
of these women don't understand that, okay, these guys are married or they have a girlfriend,
Mhm.
right? So when they're outside of that club, you let them know, if they have that, you need to like let that guy be. Don't
Okay.
bother them. Don't pester them in their life, because they're going to be like, oh, fuck, what did I get into? Because now this can affect my marriage.
Right.
But you want it to be when that guy is doing his thing and when he has his free time to go and see you, he hits you up. So you need to preoccupy your life, your time with something else other than bothering that guy. The problem with women when they get into, like, say they have a desperate situation, they really need rent, but maybe that guy is not coming to town anytime soon. So they're all fucked up and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, hey baby, blah 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 blah, and send pictures
Right.
or stuff that, the wifey may be able to catch it, and then guess what? The fun's gone. That
There
guy
you go.
can never. You're the fucking Jezebel that the woman is over. Like, she's gonna be on guard. So
Mhm.
you want to respect that. The issues with Cagney and August,
Right.
it's about having a strong support system
Okay.
that speaks to them beyond their performer, who they really are. And also, like, don't respond to these internet people. They are
Yeah.
noise. Even though I'm not gonna sit there and leave them unaccountable that, oh well, we're gonna ignore you. You're just noise. But you guys can do this. I think it's the responsibility of these people, because most of the time when they do this, they just want our attention.
Sure, of
They're
course.
like
Yeah,
little,
that's yeah.
like little children.
Yeah, right.
But you also have to like not take it personally, not phase you. If there is like drugs or alcohol
Mhm.
that this stuff really affects you, then I highly suggest taking a break from that or not even like reading that. And this is again like why I say this is thick skin.
Yeah.
There's so many
Not for the
girls
weak.
now, and it's so saturated, and they want to get in the OnlyFans market, and
Yeah.
everybody's talking about it. But at the end of the day, well, guess what? The work is that you do get to take your clothes off. You are going to make money. You might have to fuck yourself, and there could be a video out there, and these people are going to say good and nice things.
There are costs, though.
When I did go-go dancing and modeling, oh my God, everybody was kissing your ass.
Sure.
And, oh my God, you're so pretty. And then when I got into this world,
Mm-hmm.
God, those guys turned because
Yep.
maybe like they wanted to fuck me and I didn't fuck them,
Yep.
even though they were like, oh, I was so nice to you and you're just a little
Huh.
like. So it's really crazy. Like you're going to deal with all these different mental, imbalances. Like people are going to love you one day and hate you the next.
Sure.
And also you're dealing with people's like sexual like things that is going on with them.
It's a slippery slope.
Like, I know guys are gonna be like, oh, it's bullshit, but I really do like the moon, like when there's full moon and shit and stuff, or even like if they're not good in themselves and they don't kind of like take care of themselves or have self-care, then that can cause this extra like baggage from them, because it can it can affect your soul.
Okay.
So yes. So having self-care,
Mhm.
this is why I meditate.
Right.
This is why
Get your mind right.
I do all my sage. This is why I do all my spiritual rituals before I go into the club. And also like this is how I deal with you fucks that fucking write me and tell me some stupid shit. I know who I am.
Sure.
I am here. Like
Right.
you could say whatever. I don't care. I'm out there and enjoy. It's not for me. It's for you. So.
Okay, very good. Last question of the podcast. Other than the obvious markers of attraction, tall, dark, handsome, money, what turns on Onyx Muse? Like if Onyx were to, no guy is perfect, but there are a lot of guys out here that would ask a guy, what do I need to do and be to be attractive to women as attractive as you? What are just, give us just sort of a Reader's Digest version of, guys, this is what you need to do to be attractive to girls who look like me.
I love a man who is so into his business, like into his hustling, whatever it is. And like when I'm not, I know this sounds crazy, like when I am not the focus, like you enjoy sharing this aspect, but you're focused on something, whatever it is, that's fucking hot to me. And a lot of women think like that too, because the fucking 7-Eleven guy is going to say, oh, you're beautiful. This guy is going to say, oh, hi, pretty. Like, we get that.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong. You guys are very nice for telling us comments, but that's not going to move the needle if we want to be with you or not, right? But when a guy is interested in us and is willing to like share their like work, their that's their life and their success, and they're excited and they're working hard, or even their failures,
Sure.
they can, have humility, but they can share with you to pump them up. That's sexy. That's attractive. Like that's what women turn on. Like don't be just focused on me. Have something to be focused on, and like women love that.
You heard it right here, straight from the horse's mouth. Guys, we tell you guys this all the time. You cannot worship hot girls. Hot girls get worship from everybody else. If you want to separate yourself from everybody else that's saying she's beautiful and gorgeous and I want to be with you, focus on you. Focus on the business. The more you focus on your business and your purpose, the more women will focus on you. Is that accurate?
Yes.
She is the lovely and talented Onyx Muse. Guys, be sure to follow her on Instagram at Onyx Muse XO. Listen, I think it's safe to say
new episodes that will be coming out of my podcast. I have some great interviews and I have more to come as
good.
well.
Excellent. And, listen, I think it's safe to say that you'll be making regular appearances here at TSR Towers. Any parting thoughts, any closing thoughts that you have before we sign off here?
I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I love all the questions that came in. You guys actually asked some really good questions. And please be nice to your local or, any sex worker that you see online now that you have a little insight of the mental space that they're in. And thank you so much. And please tune into my podcast.
Absolutely. She is Onyx Muse. That is going to do it for Hot Girls Being Honest, episode 1. Who knows? We will see you guys next time. Take care.